Black or white, I think the person deserves to be locked up.
I'm not gonna say he deserves it. I mean, now as far as the law goes, did he break the law? If as simple as he came outside and shot him because he saw him breaking into a car, if he broke the law, then I mean he's subject to DC law. But in my personal opinion, I feel like you should be able to shoot at people who come on your street on that because examples need to be made. If these niggas ain't gonna get locked up, okay, bow. Here's a hot one for you. Now come back down here. Come back down my street with that shit again.
And as somebody who works with the youth, I hate to say that honestly that I'm at that point. Like because they gotta learn that this is not the answer. It's not how you could just maneuver. You can't maneuver up and down the street and think that like life's gonna be good. You either gonna get locked up and they're gonna let you right back out, or you ain't even gonna get caught. That's not a reality. There's a reality out here that there are people who know how to defend themselves and know how to defend their property. And this is an example of what can happen to you.
So do you think that's going to stop the kids from breaking into cars?
Yes.
I think it'll make some of them second guess.
That nigga, if he walks free, which I hope he does, if he walks free, that sends out a message. I hate to say this, but I can't wait till somebody gets some hot lead on that carjacking shit.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Rory got the water.
All right, now to the hottest topic going on in the city right now. In the city, by the city, I mean Washington, D.C., where we are broadcasting live from, sort of. There was a young man who was killed recently after he was caught allegedly breaking into vehicles on the 1000 block of Quincy Street Northeast. This subject has caused quite a stir in the community. A lot of people are saying that they believe this race was a factor. A lot of people are saying that the young man had no business out there in the first place. So people are definitely divided on the topic. You had a couple of politicians to come out and say that they believe that the guy who shot him should be arrested and thrown in jail immediately. And there are some people who say that a proper investigation should go down first. Now, me personally, I want to say this. First off, I want to give condolences out to the young man's family. It's very unfortunate that he had to pass away like this. However, me personally, I'm not one of those people who is blaming this on race. I think that the young man was doing something he had nothing to be. He didn't have no business doing. And if he was not in that scenario, he'd still be alive today. And a part of the problem is that the youth in DC are going crazy. Like crazy. And a lot of people feel like there's no control over the situation right now. So you got to understand, these homeowners are fed up. I mean, my mom lives in that neighborhood, not on that block, but around that neighborhood. And on her street all day, every day, there's people breaking in cars, there's people getting carjacked, and it's these youngins that's doing it. And when you call the police, they don't show up because honestly, it's nothing they can do after the fact. But take a report, your items are missing, your car is damaged, you got to pay for it out your pocket. People are getting sick of it. But that's my take for now. I want to get into the other host. Kurt, what's your thoughts?
I'm interested. I'm intrigued just to hear what ends up happening with him in the long run, because it's never just like a black and white, simple one answer fits all, like with this type situation. But we've seen what's happened with even the other previous youth murders. Guns Down Friday just posted today about Karan's killer, Karan Brown, how he got off. Who else? Devon McNeil's shooters, they took plea deals, bruh. They took plea deals, and ended up just getting like, I think 9 years total, but they'll probably end up just serving 5 and end up coming out on good behavior if they do what they're supposed to do.
After a murder?
Like, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, they're getting even. They usually say, well, what will we get in that type situation? And we ain't even getting real time right
Niggas
now
ain't getting
for
no
killing
time.
kids.
But
And
there's no
so-
outrage about that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
And
no outrage about
It's because
it.
people don't even know. You get the outrage from the fact that the kid died, and then you hope to hear like within a week or two that they lock somebody up for killing the kid. And if it happens, then all right, cool. They locked them up, and everybody forgets that like there's still a whole trial. There's still lawyers
Right.
who actually defend this person. There's still a whole system that has to happen. And DC police is just some trash anyway. Like their crime scene investigation isn't even accredited. So lawyers use that in the defense against some of these people to be like there's a mistake in the way that they searched the crime scene in the first place, and so you can't even use half of the evidence that they may even get, if they even get any evidence, because they don't do a good job. Like I've been to trials, I've seen them live now. Like I'm telling you, it's not worth even talking about. PG County, the 12-year-old who shot the 13-year-old at Dave & Buster's back in 2021, he got sentenced to house arrest. All he got was probation. He didn't even get jail time. They say when he got sentenced, he was 14 on August 2nd, 2022. I was at the sentencing. When he got sentenced, if he was 14, which he was at the time of the sentencing, they would have probably charged him with life. He would have got a longer, not life, charged him as an adult. He probably would have got a longer sentence. But because he was only 12 at the time, they charged him as a juvenile, and he only got probation. So this is a whole white man who has property who, you know, even though you shouldn't be defending property, he got an excuse.
So I've read
And
an article like right before he got on. They haven't released the name, but
have we confirmed that he's white?
No, this is.
I saw a picture of him. It wasn't.
That wasn't a real picture.
Yeah, that wasn't a real
Okay,
picture.
my
So the
bad.
latest update I could find that the homeowner was black, but they haven't released his name.
Okay, my bad. I take that part back.
So the homeowner was black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, it was a homeowner, and did they say if the gun was registered or not? If they
Yeah,
talked
he
that
was
far about that
registered, registered firearm.
yet? So
And I think one thing to note, I mean, he shot the kid, yes, but he did go and do CPR on him, and he turned himself over to authorities immediately. He didn't. I mean, the bottom line, the bigger problem is. The bigger problem in my
before
opinion.
you go real quick,
Go
I
ahead.
wanted to just say the bigger problem realistically, because you said the police can't do anything about it. Honestly, that's a halfway excuse, because yeah, with situations like that in the neighborhood or late night, you can't have police all over the place to be able to see something like that. But in shit like the fight that just happened on Saturday, you went outside of that arena and every single car when you walk down the street
Was broken into.
And you got so much police presence, it's no way that they can be out there and actually doing their job and not see something suspicious with some people walking down, breaking in every car,
granted,
searching cars and stuff.
Granted. So I work in public safety. I'm not a police officer, you know, of course I work for the fire department. Their job is not that simple and it's not that easy. You can't, so if someone goes and breaks into a bunch of cars, first of all, they're probably masked up. Second of all, what kind of investigation are you supposed to conduct when nobody's talking anyway? Like, nobody's telling on these kids who are doing this. And if you don't have a face to put to the case, what are you really gonna investigate?
Yeah, I'm not looking for back-end investigations. I'm looking for somebody to actually do something on the front end when you see it. It's a whole row of cars, bro. Like it ain't like it's,
And then you gotta
it's
realize,
literally
like,
every single car, bro.
I mean, I seriously doubt the police are looking at people breaking in cars and not doing anything.
I don't think they're not. I think they're not even looking.
But you
So what
can't-
are they
it's
doing?
hard- it's
Why are
hard
we
to-
hiring police officers? What are we for them to stand around and look at what?
It's hard to patrol
That's what I'm saying.
24 hours. Let's say if I had one of those little break a window tool, right? You could turn your back for 2 minutes and I can go down the block, bop, 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 break, especially on that side, that dark side next to the museum. You can pop about 10 windows right there and won't nobody see you. Or if it's just people walking by, at this day and age, people are not gonna risk their safety by
they not
screaming
saying
or
nothing
yelling, or because they don't know what's going on. And if they go in there, bob, 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 you just see somebody in the car, going through the car, they pop in the trunk, going through the trunk real quick, and they out of there. So it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different if it's a rash of muggings or they're like mugging people, and it like that's gonna be, you're gonna have a whole bunch of issues with that. But it's hard to, like I said, deal with car break-ins. Like,
Yeah,
it's actually a lot of major cities going through this right now. That was a big problem in Houston. It's a big problem in California. and because people are starting to get desperate, and that's a part of the conversation that I definitely want to touch on. It's a reason why you're seeing an uptick in a lot of petty crime, like breaking into cars, robbing stores.
Like you said, petty crime, but
things of that nature. Petty crime goes up when you have a big strain on the economy. So,
but I would even say it's even worse for the cops, right? Because not only are you dealing with petty crime, you're dealing with niggas out here carjacking niggas daily. You're also dealing with shootings. I mean, there's been like 8 people murdered at this point, and we're only 10 days in. Yeah. On New Year's Day, an 8-year-old was shot on Georgia Avenue. Like, and the crazy part to me was that nobody was even talking about that. They're focusing on the fact that they thought a white man shot a 13-year-old boy for breaking into cars. Now that we know that the guy's black, all the air just went out of everybody's shit now. There's no more uproar about it now.
I think it's still an uproar. Like I said, black or white, I think the person deserves to be locked up.
I'm not gonna say he deserves it. I mean, now as far as the law goes, did he break the law? If as simple as he came outside and shot him because he saw him breaking into a car, if he broke the law, then I mean, he's subject to DC law. But in my personal opinion, I feel like you should be able to shoot at people who come on your street on that bullshit. Because examples need to be made. If these niggas ain't gonna get locked up, okay, bow. Here's a hot one for you. Now come back down here. Come back down my street with that shit again.
And as somebody who works with the youth, I hate to say that honestly that I'm at that point. Like, because they gotta learn that this is not the answer. It's not how you could just maneuver. You can't maneuver up and down the street and think that like life's gonna be good. You either gonna get locked up and they're gonna let you right back out, or you ain't even gonna get caught. That's not a reality. There's a reality out here that there are people who know how to defend themselves and know how to defend their property. And this is an example of what can happen to you.
So do you think that's going to stop the kids from breaking into cars?
Yes.
I think it'll make some of them second guess.
That nigga, if he walks free, which I hope he does, if he walks free, that sends out a message. I hate to say this, but I can't wait till somebody gets some hot lead on that carjacking shit. I can't wait till that happens.
So I think time has already proven that type of mentality false, because if that was the case, states who have the death penalty,
but states who have the death penalty have less crime.
No, we're talking about violent crime that will get you the death penalty. States who have the death penalty don't have any less murders, capital murders,
That's not true.
Things of that nature that would get you the death penalty.
That's not true. That's not true.
Pull up the statistics.
So first of all,
pull up. I don't want to hear explanation.
Okay.
Pull up the statistics.
First of all,
pull up the statistics.
No. I want to make a statement because I don't even need to pull up the statistics for this one because I already know it. What states have the death penalty? Because you just made a blanket.
Louisiana has a death penalty.
Okay, who else?
Oklahoma, I think, still has a death penalty.
Okay. Texas
still has a death penalty, and it's a couple. I think it's like 3 more.
Okay.
Because I think it was 7 as of the last time I checked. I think something like Arkansas. So I think it was like 6 or 7 states that still have the death penalty.
So which state has the highest murder rate?
I know Louisiana's is up there. They have the death penalty.
Louisiana is up there. But what state has the highest murder rate? Because from what
probably at this point, Georgia.
From what I see, the jurisdictions with the highest murder rates are in the more liberal cities and jurisdictions.
But they're more populous as well, though. So if you talk about New York City or Washington D.C., LA, they're more densely populated cities. So with more opportunities.
But that doesn't mean anything.
That absolutely means something.
No, it doesn't.
So if you live in an area that has majority homes that are spaced out, that are more suburbs and less urban areas, crimes like murder and carjacks, things like that.
So question: What do those areas tend to be? Hold on. No. Politically, what do those areas tend to be more so? Liberal or conservative?
Why are they that way?
My statement was that the more liberal areas have the more murders.
Why is that the case? Why are those typically liberal areas?
Because they're too lenient on crime.
No, geographically, why are those?
They're too lenient on crime.
No, why are they typically liberal areas?
You said why are they liberal areas?
Yeah.
I mean, probably because
why do a bunch of niggas live in urban centers?
The influx of black people that are there to get free shit.
And so they went there for free stuff.
Pretty much. That's what everybody knows. In DC is like a episode of Oprah back in the day. You get a house, you get food stamps, you get a house. Everybody gets everything. Homeless people travel from far abroad to come to DC to get the homeless benefits. Because
that's how all black people got into major urban cities?
Originally, black people got into urban areas because they migrated from southern towns or whatever, came up here for a better life or whatever. But at the same time, where it stands right now, ever since welfare and all that stuff was implemented, black people in these cities are overwhelmingly taking those benefits, more so than any other group.
Should they not take them?
No.
If you don't
they
have,
shouldn't.
So if you don't have access to proper education, you don't have access to jobs, you don't have access to the same resources. Because guess what? When the white people left the cities, guess what else left the city? The tax base. When the tax base leaves the city, a lot of your
are we talking about Washington D.C.? Because the tax base never left Washington D.C.
We're talking about this in general. Washington D.C. is its own particular bubble. How it's set up, how the black middle class set up in D.C. D.C. is an anomaly in terms of a black city compared to every other black major city in America. So we can't use D.C. as an example to talk about the black experience in major cities. Right? So our conditions are completely different than a Detroit, Michigan, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a New York City, New Haven, Connecticut. All of these places, black urban centers, Miami-Dade County, the experience of black people is completely different. The government is set up different. Everything is set. Those experiences are shared more than the DC experience.
I mean, DC leads the nation for the most part. Top 5 cities with the highest murder rate every single year.
Yeah.
So we can't just leave DC out of it.
No, I'm talking in terms of you talking about how systems are set up, government set up. But one thing that is central DC, just like any other urban city, if you pack poverty-stricken people close to wealth, extremely close, people are not gonna sit back and starve while there's wealth and commerce and things moving all around.
Who's starving? The DC government hands out over $1,000 a month to people in food stamps every month. People are living for free.
So,
hold on.
Do you know the percentage of people who can and occupy public housing in DC?
So for the most part, it's populated with people with children.
Yeah. So.
And that's who committing these crimes, the children.
So no. Let's go back. Do you know the per capita, the amount of people that can and have access to public housing, that literally actually live in public housing? You say people are living for free. So you're talking about people who live in reduced housing or free housing based on public housing, correct?
Okay.
Do you know the amount of people that live in public housing versus the people who do not? Do you know the amount of people who have public benefits and the people who do not? So just because someone is not living, not on welfare, living rent-free, or has public assistance, that doesn't mean they're struggling. Somebody could have a job working at Walmart, working. Hold on. Don't cut me off.
You stopped me while I was talking. You stopped me.
You had a complete thought.
No, I didn't, because you're taking my shit out of context. I'm not saying every single. Okay, let's stop playing. Let's stop playing stupid, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, it's the people in that situation. When you go to all the crime-ridden communities in DC, it's the people living in that scenario who are committing the most crimes. That's a fucking fact.
So what do you think the correlation is?
The correlation is no accountability. We're 4 to 5 decades of this nonsense in. At what point do we take accountability and say we can't continue to operate our community like this? No one is going to do it for us.
So one thing black people don't have is a economic magic wand and wake up and say, hey, all of a sudden I'm gonna fund my schools equitably. I'm going to
That's an excuse, man.
I'm gonna attract proper grocery stores to my community. I'm going to zone affordable housing.
We do have a magic wand.
Hold on.
You know why you can't keep grocery stores in the community? Because niggas steal everything out the store.
Hold on.
That's why there's.
Hold on. You gonna let me talk or you gonna jump in?
You gotta take accountability, man. The sob story is old, bro.
So just because you repeat a talking point doesn't mean that's real in the community. So what's real in the community?
Touche.
What's real in the community that someone could be working want to work a full 48-hour shifts in one of these businesses. But the way our economy's set up, this said business can cut them off in 38 hours, right? Essentially use them as a full-time employee, but cut them short of those last 2 hours so you don't have to provide them health benefits. So you don't have to provide them with paid sick leave. So you don't have to provide these people with service. So you know what happens? Our tax dollars has to fill in the gap. It's a person that works 38 hours and still can collect.
Okay, so stop fucking. Stop fucking.
So
if you can't afford to bring a child in the world, stop fucking.
You keep repeating talking points.
It's not a talking point.
No, you keep saying talking
stop
points.
Stop fucking.
So I'm talking about the real problems of the community, and you just keep repeating talking points. So
stop fucking.
So let's get back to the real problems in the community. So all of these armchair critics and conservative people that want to make light of people's actual plight in the community, right? It's not incumbent of every black person in every community to be the most outstanding super Negro, United Negro College Fund entrepreneur. Somebody should be able to live a regular life, work a regular 9-to-5 job, be able to not have to work 3 jobs so they can be at home with their kids. The generations before us were able to work regular blue-collar jobs, come home and be able to take care of their families. They didn't have to work overnight jobs.
Do you know why?
This is a symptom of the economy that we're in right now.
No, it's
the
not.
problem, we don't know this child's circumstances, but I've known enough children like this kid in certain circumstances. He's either came through the system, right, where he doesn't have the type of parental structure and things, accountability, where he's out that light, or his mom, or you don't even know who raised him. So
yes, I do. I know someone who works at the school. You know him too. Who gave me the lowdown on the kid? Okay, he's in that situation.
Which one?
What school you went to?
Brooklyn Middle School.
I text that individual too to find out.
I mean, he told me about he said he wasn't even a real horrible kid. He was in the street, but he was a decent kid. You know what I mean? But his home life and his structure wasn't there.
So, and I've seen children fall into it where it's not even sometimes them or they home. They out with their homeboys. They might have spent the night over Johnny's house and Johnny into something. They might spend the night over JoJo's house and they like, all right, we about to go out and do this. But just to rewind, right? It's important if we're going to be talking about solutions, right? We have to give people the actual issue of the problem. Like if a generation before us, they were able to work a job, whether they were single parents or not, they could work a 40-hour job and still be able to get home to their kids. They could have been a custodian at the school. They could have worked at the gas station. They could have worked in the grocery store, and they were able to take care of their families. This day and age, people gotta work 2 and 3 jobs just to survive in the city, and everything's going up. And we got a visitor at the door.
Hold on real quick.
We got a visitor.
Hey boy, go upstairs. Yeah, go ahead.
See, this is a good example of a father raising his children. his son is looking, but just to put a wrap on that point. If we don't address the structural problems that are causing the violence in our communities, the violence doesn't stop. If you look at any major city, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., up and down the East Coast and the West Coast, the same things are happening in every community because people are struggling, people are starving, people can't see a way out, right? Most crimes are crimes of poverty. It's a reason why when people want to escape crime, they move to the suburbs. When I lived in the suburbs, it was very, very little crime. It was niggas beating up their girlfriends when they got drunk. It was people knocking over lawn furniture. It was the shit. It was suburban problems, but it wasn't crimes of poverty.
I only got an attempted carjacking happen to me once, and it was in the suburbs. I just wanted to make that point. By PG Community College, I promise you.
That's not real suburbs.
It's more suburbs than the city that I grew up in.
I don't know,
I
man.
grew up on Southern Avenue.
That's like Clinton.
I live in Anacostia right now. I haven't had nobody try to carjack.
I mean, nigga just got
and I was
shot
there
at the
for
gas
20
station in
years.
Largo.
Look,
That's what I'm saying though. But what I'm telling y'all is that's still technically the suburbs. It ain't it's super suburbia, but it's still the suburbs.
But hold on, that's the
saying.
whole time. That's a symptom of what's going on in the city, because all them people that technically was living in the hood in the city have been moved out to Largo, Waldorf, Temple Hill. All of them people have been priced out into that area. So now the element of people that used to be the suburb of DC, no, you got DC's finest all up and through there now. So that whole situation in them surrounding counties has changed, especially on the PG side.
I'll say this, man. I think what it all boils down to is family structure, and that's the difference between how shit goes on now and how shit used to go on. Okay, family structure. Family structures are the key to our community. We don't address the fact that the families are broken and there is no authority in the house. These type of things are gonna keep going on. It's the same old story. Young man grows up with a absent or barely there father, with a mother who has multiple children by multiple different men or whatever, raising her kids alone, bringing more and more people in the world in poverty, therefore spreading poverty, right? As long as these things keep happening, the young man's going to be a decent kid up until the age of about 11 or 12 when he realizes he don't have to listen to his mother. And this is recycle in our community to whereas though now we think this is normal. We think this is how a household is supposed to normally function when it's not.
So how do you fix it?
How do you fix it? Stop fucking.
How else do you
Stop
fix
fucking
it?
Unless you can afford to raise these kids.
How else do you fix it?
It's the only way. Marry before you carry. Marry before you carry.
So is getting married gonna bring more jobs into their community?
Getting married is
We gotta
the
bring
start.
our own jobs into the community. That's the other thing too.
I mean, all I can speak on is
Fine with that, but I'm just addressing his
all I can
particular
speak on is
solution.
DC. DC has a plethora of opportunities for everyone. If you can't get into something decent in DC, like DC gives returning citizens free IT education. I know one of my best friends right now was a felon, got his IT cert. He's making $100,000 a year at this point.
Yeah, man, it's excuses at this point. You gotta find a trade, make yourself valuable, get out and work, raise your kids.
So is DC the exception or the rule for black people?
No,
in
it's
America?
literally everywhere.
No. Like, so you think DC is the same conditions that exist in DC exist everywhere?
I don't think
I think there's they each have their own separate issues, because you still have the issues in DC where people are getting priced out, because even if you do find a trade and if you do make yourself valuable, it's still not a guarantee that you're gonna find a job that you can afford to still pay your bills and whatever bills you got as far as all these kids that people already got out here too. That's a reality. So it's like we still got our own issues. It ain't a guarantee that you're gonna have a 6-figure salary with them 4 kids that you got. And you know what I'm saying? Just because you make yourself valuable.
Like that's what I'm saying. That shit is somewhat of a pipe dream. It's like, yeah, if you just get on your job and do what you because the reality of the situation.
Because I'm talking about
but
the
we can
person
look at
who
it
got
like
the
this.
4 kids.
Let's say you are
already.
living in poverty, right? But you have that mother, that father, that solid foundation. You got a blue collar, hardworking dad. Maybe he's not making a ton of money. Maybe y'all aren't living high on the hog. But at the same time, he's checking you. Like I look at the example, like Everybody Hates Chris. They didn't make a bunch of money, right? They had the dad, the mother, and 3 or 4 kids. The father will put his foot in your ass if you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Them kids knew what they was expected of. And they weren't out here in the streets doing any and everything. Like that don't be the case when you have a family union and when you have that.
So a TV family is your example.
It's not a TV family.
That's a fucking TV family.
I was just giving an example of the family that's not making a lot of money who actually raise their kids to be something.
No, so don't get it twisted. I agree that the more we marry, the stronger our family structures, the better off we do. And like that's a 100% fact. I'm just saying that's not the only solution, because
of course it's not, but that's a start.
Because if you look at the history of America's evolution of racism and white supremacy is very tricky, right? They realized after all the people came home from Vietnam, from World War II, all these wars, they came home trained with skills. They was marrying. We were starting establishing a middle class, and this country had to figure out how to break up the middle class. So we talk about a lot about fatherless homes, but we don't talk about why they're fatherless homes.
Okay, we talk about we talk about it till we're blue in the face. We already know why there's fatherless homes. We know that now. So let's operate like we know.
So just because you interrupt, somebody's listening to the show that may not understand where you at. They might be stuck with what you're talking about. They need to stop. They just need to stop having babies.
Fine.
They just need to stop having babies. So
I would employ them to look up the Moynihan report.
If somebody understands.
The Moynihan report.
Sometimes people gotta understand the game they playing, or even understand they even in the game or in the system to break out of the system. Well, I know personally, once I understood, oh shit, this the game they playing on me. This is how I get around it. This is how I get out of the game. Even when I talk to students in schools, making them understand the school to prison pipeline makes them act differently once they understand you're being tracked from 4th grade. They're building prisons. They're building detention programs based upon the demerits and things you're starting to get in 4th and 5th grade. And once we let them kids know that you got to get your ass out of school, you got to stay out of trouble, you have to stay on the straight and narrow path, because they already building a jail for your ass based upon what you're doing right now. And once we get their ass the hard reality of the thing that they playing, the game that they in, some of them wake up and are different. They act different, they move different, because they understand that their body is being preyed upon. Like you are useful in jail to them, and you're not useful any other way.
And that's
you have to make yourself useful in the society. But if they just living their life not understanding what's going on around them, why they're being targeted a certain way, why they're being discriminated against, they don't have the tools or the weapons to fight back. It's our job to give these youth like that the tools and understand how to fight back. Because if you instill value in a child that has no value, you automatically see their behavior change. A lot of them don't feel like they have value.
Okay, it's great that you tell them that, and that's a good thing, right? But after you tell them that, what do they turn on their phones and their headphones? The bullshit that tells them to do opposite.
It depends.
Bro, let me tell you, we was at the funeral for Jakai, and Reverend Venable spoke, gave a solid word, got all these kids to come up there and get it like the Christ, right? And went back into the Sprinter after, let them DJ. First song that played said something, but I pray to the devil. I'm like, how y'all just get y'all like the Christ? This is the first thing that y'all play is the song that says something, but I pray to the devil. Like that's literally, it's literally ingrained. Like it's trained.
Every song is about killing someone and doing drugs. Like every song, everything they listen to is negative.
And so like that's what I'm saying is we talk about all these problems, we recognize the problems, we know we like you said, we talk about it till we blue in the face. And I get that there's listeners that might not get it. We do gotta highlight it and talk, still, level it up to the different people. But my question is, when you start to realize that it's planned and it's by design and all of these things, and you keep highlighting the problem, what are you going to do about the problem? And we can't just sit and say, all right, stop fucking. Cool. People already did. They already got all these kids. We already in this problem. What is the real solution? We got the music. It's trash. It's garbage. It's literally perpetuating the violence, I say, because we could always argue that what came first, the music or the lifestyle. But look at literally Chicago. Niggas wasn't running around doing shooting and drilling and all this crazy shit that they doing right now everywhere else until they started it in Chicago. So it's literally taking that epicenter of it and spreading it all over the place. So even if it might have came first in Chicago, it still is extending itself into other areas, number one. And then number two, if we talking about educating them, well, how and where do you plan on educating them? Because if you're talking about in the school system, you're asking the same people that are setting you up for failure to then let you succeed, like magically. It's literally intentional. So what do we do about it?
We have to do the opposite of what the popular narrative is for us to do. Do you notice how all of the influential black people are coming out, like your My Son, your Tamika Mallory, your T.I., all of these people are screaming free Young Thug. Right? Now, I have no vested interest whether Young Thug goes to jail.
I don't think I didn't heard them say free Young Thug.
Let me finish my thought, because you're wrong. You're wrong. All of these people
said I never heard that.
So all of these people, all of these influential black people that young people, quote unquote, listen to and look up to, right? They're all screaming, free Young Thug.
I ain't hear that.
That's a fact.
I haven't heard free him, but I haven't heard keep him locked up either.
The bottom line is, man, we want to complain about the system being against us, but however, we don't do anything about the things that we can control that feeds the system. We can control what we listen to. We can control putting on a rubber and not creating kids that we can't afford. We can control these small things that can make a bigger impact on the system that's playing against us. But we don't do it. We rather not do it.
Because then we blame the system.
Right.
And then we don't have any accountability.
We rather not do it.
Then change it.
And then just wallow in our sorrows like a pig in shit. That's what we rather do.
So we're offering solutions now, right? Mm-hmm. So what's your solution, Trip Simpson, to wean the kids off of this genocidal music they're listening to?
What's my solution? Okay, so I got a 2-part solution, right? The first solution would be to try to disband this music altogether. It's gotta go. There's nothing positive coming out of it. Each one of the stars of this genre of music, they get shot and killed. Like, there's nothing positive coming out of any of this. So I think that we need to turn it off. And I think that we need to focus on a nuclear family unit. And I believe that once those things become the norm again, then maybe a generation or two after all of this bullshit, we can begin to make some progress. Now, as far as to what's going on right now and the people that we have in the world right now, honestly, I think it's a wash. I don't think you can fix it. I don't think you can fix it. I think it starts now with millennials who are having families and raising families to put certain ideals in their kids now. This generation right now is a wash. Forget about it.
To piggyback on that too, we can't have an answer that we even think is going to change the trajectory in like 10 years. It took 20, 30 years for hip hop to become what it was, and then it took another 30 years to pervert it to where we at right now.
Yeah.
So it's not just going to be something that we can see happen, and then in 5 years it's going to be all good. But like you said, millennials have to be the ones to like really lead the charge and change what's being put out into the atmosphere. And beyond that, you literally got like lead by example. So like one thing I know I want to do is give kids free studio time who are putting good music out. So, and not even who are putting good music out, the ones who put trash music out, I bring them to the studio and be like, you're only getting this free studio time if you change your lyrics and put something positive out. They're gonna make a positive song. You think they're not? They're gonna literally use that as like a little challenge to try and do that. And we will put the backing behind how you promote that.
One thing I like that you do, because we had a little argument not too long ago about the whole sports and the kids thing. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the solutions that you and Jamar had, which I like, is doing the homework with the kids and making that a requirement to even play or whatever you guys were talking about. Now, my thing with the music and giving kids a chance to make music, not to go against your plan, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I honestly think that we need to focus. We need to get our kids off this entertainment kick. We need to make our culture not about being court jesters for America. I think that we need to have our kids focus more on the things that are going to help out the population in general. Like, because only 1 or 2 guys out of the whole city are going to make it in music, right?
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I
think.
But
if we focus the kids on STEM and we focus the kids on, because in 10, 20 years, bro, most of these jobs right here are going to be gone.
Yeah,
and if you're not having your kids focus on STEM, engineering, things like that, they're going to be lost.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's all encompassing, and I want to create something that is all encompassing.
You can have a program where they learn music and STEM. Kids are not one-track mind robots where they can only learn one thing at one time.
I hear you, but I think about the real quick. I got you. I think about the competition when I say that, though, right? You got to look at this as a race, right? Race is actually a race. Shout out to Minister Jack. Race is actually a race. We're in last place, bro. What is the competition doing? What does the competition have? What does the competition have their kids?
So
do you
with
see
that
little
being
Indian
said-
kids in the studio?
So let me.
Fuck no.
So let me. Yeah. So with that being said, though, we have a culture right now that every kid isn't going to go into STEM. It's just not a reality. You know, it's not a reality.
If we don't make that a reality, we're gonna have a bigger problem.
But if I got,
it's not a reality.
it's not a reality
in any country or any
that
population.
every kid is going to. But what I also know is that we have the culture like literally in our hands. When I say that is hip hop is the number one consumed music in the world right now. So what you can do is change the hip hop, change what people listen to, change what you're being put out into the atmosphere to change your culture directly, and then all the rest of the culture is going to, piggyback off of that music and off of that.
They're going to assimilate to what
But what
we
I'm
do.
saying is the same way I just told you is this is what we do for the music. All right, just yesterday I had kids up at WAMU radio station learning how to radio broadcast and the ins and outs of media. That's another tool to get our message out to our people so that we can change the trajectory. All these things are necessary. It's all encompassing. We can't just go do science and tech and math and think that that's going to go and compete with those people and then that's going to be it, because you still have a whole culture of people who ain't focused on science and tech and math, who are just being cut off and we're not being used, and we need to use everybody. Everybody here is a resource. Let's do what they good at.
I hear you on that.
I need a piggyback.
But he just responded to
And if you study history, revolution comes through communication, right? All of our revolutionary messages have always been communicated through music, the church, through the arts. It hasn't been communicated through math and science, but it's been followed up with that, with that infrastructure. So if we control the most powerful medium on earth, right? And we have the ability to influence the whole world, and it's something that we can change ourselves quickly. Some of those other systems, before we can get our own military, before we can build house, before we can prosper economically, we need to get control of our number one driving economic engine right now in the black community, which is our art.
Well, see,
if we can control that,
imagine then if we can actually control our music,
accumulate money in the community.
And I don't mean control it just by what we hear. I mean control it like we're signing people to our own people so that we can keep the money into our cycle.
Here's why that's wrong though, right? Now, granted, in the past, revolutions have been started through communication, church, all that, right? But what we're missing is the bigger play here, right? Do you know what the biggest revolution over the past 50 years has been?
Internet.
Hold on. The biggest revolution has been completely quiet.
Definitely
the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Indians from India, right, have silently made themselves the biggest tech cultures out. When it comes to tech, they run it, and when they immigrate to other people's countries, they gravitate towards those things and don't even say nothing.
But we acting like that's just through tech, like the knowledge of being able to put zeros and ones together behind some computers. That's tech, like getting your whole fucking colonial people together to go and mine fucking fields in African countries that they are stealing and taking technology from and minerals from to go and build that tech.
I want to put this.
Give it some perspective here.
I want to put this.
African Americans ain't getting a whole bunch of people to go and
I want to put this in simple terms.
And mine some fucking.
I want to put this. Hold on. I want to put this in simple terms.
I feel you.
The best and brightest of the cultures who are flourishing are not court jesters. Our best and brightest are court jesters.
And I agree with you there.
The best and brightest from other communities are not court jesters.
Actually, the best and brightest are not court jesters. It's just our culture. We don't control our images. So the best and brightest of our population, the ones that go to the Ivy League schools, the ones who, you got to think about, black people invented all technology. All technology that you use, a black man or a black woman invented it. All of it. From the GPS system to the light bulb to the stoplight. Black people invented all of it. So I'm just changing.
I don't give a fuck about that.
No, you just said that our best and brightest are in entertainment. That is not the case. We just don't control our image. The richest black man in the world is not an entertainer.
Look, bro.
Is he? The top 4 richest black people in the world are not entertainers.
Okay. Who are they?
Very few people
Who are they?
know who Robert Smith is. Very few people. If it wasn't for Earn Your Leisure, half the motherfuckers wouldn't even know who.
I know. He's the one who paid all the Morehouse tuitions. I know about Robert F. Smith.
So what is he famous for?
Well, technically it was Kanye. He had more money than him.
No, it wasn't.
Kanye was the richest black man in the world for a second.
He just said that these are talking points that people be believing.
Richest black man in the world.
Yeah, you know
Niggas
that.
went with it.
You know that. I know that.
So Robert F. Smith.
And it's two other Africans. The band that's in telecom.
But you know what Robert F. Smith said? I'm glad you brought him up. Because you know what he said his problem is? Because everybody wants him to do this and wants him to do that. But his problem is he's the only nigga in the room. There's no one else to back him. So he has to go along with what his white colleagues are doing. If not, he's gonna lose everything because there's no black people to back him. There's no other billionaires in his field that can do a conglomerate situation with him to get anything done.
Yeah, that's a fact. But so
you know what the other billionaires? Hold on. You know what the other black billionaires do? They sell you this dumbass music that we listen to. They sell you these dumbass TV shows that we watch. That's what the other black billionaires do. Court jesters, at best.
So, back to the point that our best and brightest are not in entertainment.
Yes, they are.
So you're conflating riches with best and brightest. So you're discounting all the NASA scientists, all the chess champions, the neurosurgeons. She even throw fake ass Ben.
I mean, y'all be shitting on Ben Carson. I fucks with Ben Carson.
So, but what I'm saying is you're furthering a narrative that's not true.
Dude.
I bet. So our richest and the ones that white people like to hold up as the best of our society are entertainers, but our best and brightest are not. Consistently, black people score in every tech genre, every tech industry. It's a black person who is the leader of it.
But what is he surrounded by?
White people.
Okay, so
those,
it's not.
So those are our best and brightest.
So what I'm saying is,
so our best and brightest get co-opted into. Hold on. Our best and brightest get co-opted into white society through private schools and college. Those schools go into the hood, look at all the test scores. Who's the smartest niggas at these schools? You know what they do? They give them scholarships. What happens when they give them the scholarship? They take them to these white institutions and they assimilate them to white culture. So they end up attending white Ivy League schools. They end up going to MIT. They end up going to Harvard. They end up going to Wharton Business School, UPenn, and they're cycled into this system. They end up working for white corporations. So it's not a matter of we don't have the best and brightest. Our culture, our people are smarter than everybody on this planet.
I mean, look, they
just pick the best ones and co-opt them into white institutions.
I'm trying to make this simple. I'm trying to make this simple.
If we're talking about educating our kids,
trying to make this simple, bro.
If we're talking about educating our kids,
about
educating our kids at home, keeping our kids in black schools.
If you talk to the average black kid, they want to be a rapper, a basketball player, an actor, or a music. That's what they want to do.
No, they don't.
Yes, it is. That's the truth.
No, they don't.
It's not all the way true.
That's not true. When is the last time you actually talked to a group of kids?
I talk to kids all the time.
No, when is the last time you sat down and talked to a group of black kids?
A group of athletic kids, that's what they're going to say. If you ask the regular kids that actually, want to use their brains, they got tons of other things they want to be.
Well, niggas want to be YouTubers.
We got kids out here requesting coding classes and stuff like that because they are actually in the tech, and definitely YouTuber is like one of the number one.
But that's not even a good
I'm
thing.
not saying it like it's making it better. I'm just saying like it's not only those things though.
Like you're perpetuating the
but I would like to.
We would have to be.
You're perpetuating the false narrative.
What I'm not going to do here. What I'm not going to do here because we've had enough of it over the past few decades. I'm not going to sit up here and keep acting like our shit doesn't stink the worst in this country right now. We have to get our shit together. This is not a fucking joke, dog. By 2053, we are on the verge of zero. And niggas still want to talk about doing the same shit we've been doing.
Because you only have one solution to the problem. Don't even respond to that. The thing about the reason why this is so irritating is because to fix something, you literally have to unwind it. So you can't just say, fuck entertainment. Everybody get out of it and expect everybody to just maneuver out of it, because that's not reality. So I'm not going to sit here and debate you and argue with you over a false reality. So we have music, it already exists. We're the number one producers of it. Why wouldn't we just change the trajectory of it versus cutting everybody off, because it's never going to happen. That part is never going to happen. What I'm saying could potentially never happen either, but it's at least realistic to say, hey, niggas that's already making music, stop doing this and come over here. Let me show you how you can make music over here.
When you asked me for a solution, what did I say? I said this generation is a fucking rap. We need to work on the future.
Yeah, so what I'm telling you is the future that you're telling me that we need to work on already exists. It's not. We're not talking about like some niggas that's being born and we're hoping that we can talk to them from babies out on up. I'm telling you, it's a 17-year-old nigga right now that's rapping, that's probably also out in the streets killing somebody. What are we gonna do about that kid? Because that nigga's not a rap, is what I'm telling you. The niggas, our peers, are a rap. The people that might be 25, 30, that's already in jail, whatever, they might be a rap too. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about these little niggas that's still in school, but 15, also 16, we can access and change the trajectory of their lives. I'm not gonna go tell them stop rapping, go get a fucking tech job, because he's not gonna listen to you. That's what I'm telling you for facts. He's not gonna listen to you.
So they're
and it doesn't make him helpless.
So
no, he's not. And that's why we have two different ideas on how we're gonna solve this. And I think one of them is actually realistic.
Bro, I think it starts in elementary school and down, bro.
And an elementary school, they're not gonna listen to you say that either, bro. That's what I'm telling you.
So that's why
the elementary schooler sees football.
It's tough.
The elementary school sees basketball. The elementary schooler listens to some music. Like, fuck are you talking about?
It's really tough for you to make critiques of.
It's not tough for me.
No. I'm saying it's tough because
it's
what
not tough.
What you're
it's
saying,
the truth.
The things, but your truth is not the reality of the true
world,
of the actual people.
Like, it's crazy,
how people
bro.
are living. Like, this black people invented music out of Africa to right now. It's been
exactly.
Us.
Music has always been here, my nigga.
It's
not gonna go anywhere. If anything, look, Pete. If anything, here's a good answer. The best song out right now has about 5 words. Damn, and then I just want to rock. That's it. Change the lyrics, change the trajectory, change the music back to what it was, which is just music and can make you dance, make you happy. That's what it is. Like, put good vibes out into the atmosphere. That's the beginning. Like, it's literally slate number 1. It's a level of 1,000 other things we got to do on top of that, and one of them eventually is say fuck all of that shit. But honestly, it'll probably never get there, bruh. So what I'm saying is we got to do something.
I don't want it to get there because
I don't either.
That's
part of our culture.
Like,
yo,
from
what?
Before
he don't want you to ever party. Don't celebrate. Don't enjoy yourself.
Before any race existed, music existed. Music has always been a part of human culture since the beginning of time. So to say, oh, we just don't do music, that's not realistic. But to say we can look at the history of our country in the last 60 years to see how music was co-opted in a negative way. We can look at the 80s and 90s when music took a positive turn. It was actually inspiring people. The New York rappers was talking about knowledge itself, 5% knowledge, putting knowledge into the music. Some of my favorite hip hop music is from the 90s. Righteous Teachers.
I think that talented.
Don't cut me off. I'm not done.
Y'all niggas just cut me off.
No, we didn't cut you off.
Ain't you jumping?
We definitely didn't cut you off. So some of my favorite music is from the 90s because that's when hip hop took a positive turn and it was inspiring people to do positive things. I wear an African medallion that came from 90s culture that instill pride in people, that instill take care of your neighborhood, educate one, teach one, preach one. But our enemy has always been very sophisticated in how he sabotaged black movements, from COINTELPRO up until the way our music culture was taken over and co-opted. They recognize if we fund the ignorant rappers, the dumb rappers, the drill rappers, the murder rappers, it's no secret why the NBA YoungBoys and the Lil Durks are the biggest funded rappers by the music industry right now, right? It's no secret which artists are getting these record deals. When honestly, that music hasn't even been the highest selling music. Drake's music,
real quick,
Kendrick Lamar's music, J. Cole music has been. He want
to get rid of music. You know the number one way to teach a kid something? Put it over a melody. But he wants to get rid of music.
What's the jump with the little?
It's the reason why nursery rhymes exist.
Corner. What's the jump? She teaching everybody with that shit, with the go-go beat. That shit is revolutionary.
Right.
I'm seeing all the kids walk around learning history, numbers, everything through that.
It's
shit.
a reason why ABCs have a tune.
But this is the thing. Just to put a wrap on what I was saying. The highest genre of music has been sold in the last 10 years has not been gangster rap. It's not been drill music. It's actually been niggas actually rapping about something. But we don't control our image. We do not control the access and distribution of our music. It's gotten better, honestly, in the last 3 to 4 years because kids have learned they don't have to go through a record label. They can put their music straight out. Like, what's my man, La Russell, right? We need more La Russells. We need more Chance the Rappers. We need more people like that who are taking an independent route, putting positivity back into music. Us as a community can get behind and support those people and not support the drill rappers and not support the rappers that are killing our community. If we want to talk about that, that's a real tangible solution that niggas can get together and say, we gonna do this. And an impact will be made.
I mean, look, we could go back and forth with this all night. I understand wholeheartedly what you guys are saying. My only disagreement is that it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It's not working.
It did work. That's why they sabotaged it. It literally, they sabotaged like, oh shit.
Niggas
is learning. No, but you just said.
You just went whining when I tried to cut you off.
It was wild, inaccurate. It literally was working. And niggas was like, how do we sabotage this shit? Because niggas is learning. Okay. Niggas not going to jail as much. Niggas not wanting to sell drugs. It's working. Gangster rap.
African Americans are in last place in every socio-economic category.
Because we came as slaves, nigga.
When you're in last place, you don't have time for these gradual baby steps y'all niggas are talking about. We need to throw the entire culture in the trash and start from the ground up. Because right now, we're moving backwards.
But that contradicts everything we said about it not happening in 30 years.
My point is, this culture is trash and it has to go. It has to go. It has to die. Someone needs to set it on fire. It needs to burn. And we need to rebuild with a whole different outlook on how to navigate in the world we live in today. We're not navigating properly, and it shows. To be the biggest producers of music and all this, whatever the fuck you were saying, we don't control it. We don't get paid off of it. Most of the artists die broke and young.
And that's always been the case, and that's the only reason why I say it never worked. I would agree with him on that part. Maybe we put some positive messages out there for a decade.
I mean, music used to be positive. I mean,
but niggas were still getting robbed and raped. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing, man.
So, because music is one.
Black people have the fortunate opportunity right now, because it's still early. We're getting ready to flip into a whole new, different system. And if we continue to focus on things that are going to be obsolete in the next 50 years, we're still going to be behind. The shit's going to be obsolete.
What's going to be obsolete?
Music not
going to be
obsolete.
Music is not going to be obsolete.
Music, it's all going to be obsolete.
No, it's not.
It is.
Companies are buying artists' catalog for hundreds of millions of dollars.
You know who's going to be rapping in the next 30, 40 years? Artificial intelligence. That's who's going to be rapping. And you know who's going to be getting paid? The nigga who can program the artificial intelligence. The nigga who can program it.
That's real.
The nigga who can fix the computer that has to program the artificial intelligence.
So you don't think kids gonna figure that out?
What I'm telling you is,
just like our generation,
that's a bullshit ass answer.
No, it's not.
I don't think they're gonna figure it out. As long as they're being raised by hood rats and focusing on sports and dumbass music all day.
They're not gonna just figure it out. That's facts.
So I learned something about the younger generation, right? And it's like, if you hand a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, right, hand them a phone or a tablet, right? Their brain is fundamentally different. How they handle technology, how they move, how they do shit.
Before you run down
from the generation before us. I have faith that kids are gonna figure out.
Listen real quick,
because we figured it out every.
Bro, listen real quick. Before you run down that pathway, they're gonna figure out how to use that motherfucker and go do something that's gonna bullshit and waste their time. They're not gonna figure out how to program it and design it.
So you focusing on the ones who, but how many kids have that? Like,
Yeah, and that
video,
and look at
where
where it got us. It's not a solution.
Every dumbass kid,
we don't focus on training them and teaching them what it is.
Use a tablet.
It's not going to matter, y'all. We gotta focus the argument. We gotta focus the argument. We gotta focus the argument.
No. I'm addressing. He's talking about like.
I would like to address something real quick with the tablet.
We're not gonna be able to close the technology gap.
Because you acting like kids are just gonna magically figure it out without us actually being able to guide them. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you how the okie doke happens. The same way you always talk about the okie doke and how we set up and we got an excuse. All right, let me tell you how the okie doke happens. We were on MySpace learning how to code and do all the shit that you need to figure out now, and they okie doked you with Facebook, and so you could just type the shit in, and somebody's doing the code on the back end for you. That's how you get okie doked. That's why the kids ain't gonna just figure it out, because even when they begin to just figure it out, they're gonna put something in front of you so that you're distracted from figuring it out.
No, don't get me wrong. They still need guidance on the back end. That's not what I'm saying. I'm addressing you saying, well, they just gonna be lost. No, every like especially black kids or black youth, I've always led the forefront of technology, bro. Everything that's invented that you use that's important, somebody black invented it.
I can't confirm or deny that.
Somebody, your cell phone, GPS, how the LCD screen, it's somebody black that was leading the research team or invented this shit. Look the shit up.
What's the next topic?
Somebody black did it. So to say this narrative that we just the thing is, I say the number one thing, and I learned this through warfare. When another country comes into another country, the first thing they do is they gonna blow up or take over the fucking television and radio station, because then they start controlling the narratives and the messaging. That's why in communist countries, when they start to do bullshit, the first thing they do is shut the internet off, shut off all communications, so people don't understand what's going on.
That's not what they do. You know what they do?
What do they do?
You know what they do? They give you TikTok and make that the most addictive app for your kids and put bullshit on TikTok all day. And they make their kids do bike dance, which shows them science projects and only gives them 40 minutes a day. That's what they do.
And what is that called?
Huh?
What is that called? What's the proper military?
That's the way the warfare. That's the way.
What's the proper term for that?
It's cyber warfare.
It's
whatever.
Propaganda. Countries use propaganda, just like when.
Okay, so the same tablets that you saying that the kids pick up, the same tablets that you saying the kids pick up, they're programming the kids. I'm not flipping shit.
You just flipped that motherfucker.
No, I didn't.
To a whole nother thing.
No, I didn't.
I'm talking about.
You're the one who's stop that.
No.
I'm not gonna let you run that. You the same motherfucker that said the kids know how to use tablets.
That's a whole different. But that was a whole different topic.
What are the kids watching on the tablet?
That was a whole different topic.
What are the kids watching on the tablet?
Depends on what household you in. It depends on what kind of tablet you got.
All right, man. Let's get to the next topic.
That was a whole nother topic we was talking about.
Next topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will all get to
the Republican spin right there. I watch Fox News. I know that spin.
I hit you with a logical point.
He had a point.
I know that spin. We were talking about warfare, how countries use propaganda. You just started talking about, said kids use a tablet. That's not even what we're talking about.
Bro, that's how they feed you the propaganda through the tablet. That was what he was talking about.
But anyway, let's get to a more fun topic.